Well, hello, everybody, and welcome once again to the Appalachian Brewing Company podcast. It's Mike Parker coming to you from the Mechanicsburg Brew Company, brew pub location. Jeez, Henry. And I'm all thrown off because Artie Tafoya is not my sidekick today. It's Henry Grossman from ABC.
Artie's MIA today.
Yeah, Artie's off doing Artie things,
yes,
which are usually top secret and
well-deserved.
Everyone will find out about them very soon. Yeah, and create a little bit more work for everybody, right?
Yeah, that's what he does.
All right. Awesome. Well, so, man, it's good to catch up with you again. You're the strategic growth officer, which is, I always make fun of your title, but
everybody does.
You're the guy that gets things done. And, this has been a really exciting, it's always a transitional season when we get to the end of summer and we're coming into fall. Came into the brew pub, enjoyed some Oktoberfest food. Oktoberfest beers are all over the place, whether it's ABC with the Capona Fest or whether it's another brew pub you go into. It's Oktoberfest everywhere. Tell me, are you feeling festive for the season? Do you get excited about it?
Absolutely. I live up in the woods, so I see all the leaves changing and my impending leaf projects. But yeah, there's the food through Oktoberfest is always really good. It just kind of puts you in the mood, and you're kind of getting ready for fall, getting ready for holiday season. But yeah, I love this time of year.
It's so busy this time of year too. There's fall festivals and there's family stuff and there's kids sports, but you always got to make time for a beer. Yeah. So you come in, maybe there's one of those Capona Fest left over even into like November or so, right? Oh, yeah. But what else is on tap right now around the brew pub? As you guys are trying to transition.
Yeah, we have actually a lot of. The brewery's very busy right now. We have a lot of good releases. I'm actually drinking currently Chasing Shadows New England Style IPA, which just released last week. We had a couple other exciting beers released just yesterday. We had another New England IPA called Faded Lake, which was a collaboration beer with Prototype Brewery and Meadery. Collaboration.
That's what I want to talk about today, because the word of the day is collaboration. You guys have done some great collabs in the past, and as we're getting through fall, heading into winter, there's one kind of ABC brand that sticks out in my mind. It's something that we've touched on the last few years, and it's always a little different. Mm-hmm. It's collaboration, and it's also a little evolution, right?
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
The name of that beer is the Midnight Fridge Raider.
It's a pastry stout that we produce differently every single year. It's sort of that late night snack that you probably don't need, but you definitely want.
Right.
And so we have an upcoming release of that this year as well.
All right. So in years past, it's always a little bit of a different flavor. There's something and this year, look, if I remember the first year, it was a cheesecake.
Yeah, it was a cherry chocolate cheesecake pastry stout.
Oh, that was awesome.
That was great.
Yeah.
Last year was we did a collaboration with Da Vinci's Italian Eatery, and that was a chocolate chip cannoli stout.
Yes.
And then this year we have a new one.
And that's why we have a guest with us today, and that is the new collaborator for the Midnight Fridge Raider. And why don't you introduce our guest and hand over the mic, and we'll learn a little bit about this company as well.
Absolutely, yeah. Our guest today is Doug Taylor with Taylor Chip Cookie Company, based out of Lancaster, PA. They're a very like-minded group of people. They're like us. They like to innovate. They like to do things that are fun. They like to make new friends. So, that being said, welcome to the podcast, Doug.
Well, thanks for having me. I am beyond honored to be here. We've been building this facility of our own because we're doing ice cream, and just being able to walk through some of your facilities has been so fun for me. And also, I'm drinking beer in the middle of the day. So
look, we brought the cookie guys in for a beer podcast, right? But that's cool because that's what it's about. So listen, we always start things off. I'm sure if we ever do a cookie podcast, we're going to eat some cookies, but we're doing the beer podcast. So let's cheers, guys. Let's kick things off right. Cheers.
Cheers.
All right. Delicious. All right, so we quick talk about the beers that we're drinking before we get to know you, Doug. I'm drinking this Faded Lake East Coast IPA. Henry, I checked it out I know this is a brand new. You said it just went on tap yesterday. So a New England style IPA, delicious. I'm tasting, I don't know, I'm picking up a little bit of tropical fruit, and it says in the description crushed gooseberry. I have no idea what that is.
I don't know what a gooseberry is either, but I hear they're delicious.
I can confirm. All right, Doug, you've got the tell what Doug has the upside down.
So the pineapple upside down sour, it is like a pineapple. Like it literally, I feel like I'm eating pineapple upside down cake.
That's good. Well, listen, we're so we're thrilled to have you here with us today, learning more about Taylor Chip. So, I mean, just take us back. How do you get into the cookie business?
So, I mean, really, if you want to boil it down to the absolute truth, my wife and I are very rooted in our faith. That's one of the bonding things of how we, connected with each other. And so we were committed to celibacy before we got married. And so what did we do? If we weren't baking other things, we started baking cookies and cakes and all of that stuff. And so Sarah, my wife, is just absolutely, she is just a natural path. I don't know what, like the crazy nuts, right? Like that's just like, they don't see doctors. They don't do that. They just, there's a root and an herb for everything. Right? And so in the same way,
an essential oil.
Yeah, an essential oil. There you go. That's the word. So I mean, I'm not like that at all. So I love like Crisco, whatever, corn syrup, and all those different things that I was raised off of, like the discount grocery store freezer aisle, because that's all my mom could afford. And so we're just in that sense, we were just completely opposite. And so I was eating these cookies that were made with like shortening and Crisco, and she said, that is, if you didn't know, that's bad fat. And so my wife said I couldn't have that, and I said, well, wait a minute, hold on, that's not a thing. And then we basically kind of said, happy wife, happy life. Well, she was going to be, we were just dating at the time, but happy girlfriend, happy life. And so we kind of said, well, I said, if I can't have these cookies, we need to make these cookies, but with butter, whatever your ingredient things that you have their standards for, we need to make these cookies using those. They need to taste the same, if not better. So really that's what happened. So we used our date night as like an opportunity to bake. We baked our own wedding cake, and then it took us a year and a half of just hanging out together and making cookies to get to the point where we were both super excited about what we had. That was just in time to get married, and then we made our cookies really, really big because we were getting married and we didn't have any money. And so what were we going to do for our guests? We gave them a cookie. So we gave them a huge cookie as our wedding favor, and we called our wedding website, we were the Taylors. She was taking my last name, and then the only cookie that we had was the chocolate chip. And so we made our wedding website taylorchip.com. And ever since then, it was just we didn't see it as like a huge business opportunity. We kind of went back to our normal jobs, but yeah, I mean, it just like people started requesting that we bring the cookies with us. And then one order at a time, and then all of a sudden we were in the cookie business.
That's awesome. So when do you go from, just having a fun date night deal and like, you're obviously it's a passion, but a hobby becomes, a business, right? There's risk and there's a reward, but it's also, to run a small business, anyone will tell you, it takes you're jumping in with both feet, right? And then you have to learn to trust other people with maybe the thing that you started. How long did that? How does that go? And when do you open like a first like a brick and mortar?
Yeah, so we are very risk adverse. So we would have never opened a business, I don't think. But really, what happened was my wife was working at the Harrisburg Airport, and she really did not enjoy the culture, and she was, it was like the Sunday blues, essentially. So every Sunday she would start to get nervous and butterflies because she had to go back into work. And so I hated seeing that. Let's set a time that you quit your job. And it doesn't matter. Like, I have enough with what I was doing. I had enough money coming in to support us. So I said, you don't need to be working. So we set an exact date. On that day, someone reached out to us and said, we are starting a market and we're looking for stand holders. Please come. I don't know how they found out about us. We did like one event in the city. I have no clue how, but we had like 50 people that liked our Taylor Chip cookie page on Facebook, right? And so anyway, so we went there and met with them, and we just both felt like this is the opportunity. And so that is how we got started. That's really how we went from like just making cookies to all of a sudden we're in business.
Cool. Well, listen, we're talking to Doug Taylor. He is with Taylor Chip. It's a cookie company with, I guess you guys are diversifying a little bit.
Yes,
And you're
very
even,
much so.
and you're even venturing out into the world of craft beer right now. And so we're going to talk about how these two brands, Taylor Chip and Appalachian Brewing Company, came together, and the beer that's right around the corner, the new edition of the Midnight Fridge Raider, and when it's going to come out, what it's supposed to taste like, what you can expect. And we'll be right back with more with our guest on the Appalachian Brewing Company podcast. All right, and we're back once again on the Appalachian Brewing Company podcast. It's Mike Parker, Henry Grossman here, and we have some guests with us today from Taylor Chip. Taylor Chip is a cookie company, Central Pennsylvania based, that is working on a collab beer with the new edition of the Midnight Fridge Raider pastry stout that is produced every year here at Appalachian Brewing Company. And Doug Taylor is here. And Doug, you brought another fellow here with you today too. You want to tell us, pass the mic and have this guy introduce himself?
Should I introduce him or should he introduce
please,
himself?
yes.
All right. Introducing. So Cameron Broadhurst, he is our creative director. He's been with us for a while. Super instrumental in our storytelling growth and everything. Everything that we do. We have about 500,000 followers on social. We've only been around for 5 years, so that's some immense growth when you think about our production facility is in a town with 1,500 people. Yeah. And so we have more followers and we're more out there than a lot of these New York City brands and all of that stuff, and we've done that in a very short amount of time. And so it's part of the culture here at Taylor Chip, but it's also something that Cameron's extremely talented with, and so we've been able to really together work on building that department and have creative ideas.
Nice.
So that is Cameron, and I'm passing the mic to him.
Yeah, so Cameron, so tell us, if we want to learn more about Taylor Chip beyond what we can find out here, a little short introduction on this podcast today, tell us where to go. Where can we find you guys?
Man, I mean, we're big into like Instagram and TikTok and stuff like that. When I came on board 2.5 years ago, like one of the big ideas we had was like, how do we get people to know who we are? And I had made some comment. I'm not from the Lancaster area, but I made some comment about like going up to people on the street and asking if they've heard of Taylor Chip before.
I thought it was a dumb idea.
And, Doug was like, no, people already know who we are. And I was like, okay, whatever. Let it sit for a little bit, came back a few weeks later, trying to come up with some content ideas. And I was like, you know what? We should just knock on people's doors and see if they want to try our cookies and rate them from 1 to 10. And so we did it and started editing those videos and posting them on TikTok and Instagram. And I mean, really, that's really what blew up our account for a while.
Wow.
And where we've kind of found our footing with like a content style. Then we realized how many people didn't know about us in the local area. But then, the ripple effect of that, just like posting on social media consistently with these like viral intent pieces of content, really blew up. I mean, how many months ago was it that you were in Florida? You guys were just eating in Florida and someone came up to you and was like, hey, love your videos. And
you got recognized.
Oh,
yeah.
I do not.
Wow.
I do not travel. I have not traveled anywhere the last long time without actually being recognized by a random person, as well as anytime I go out. Because you see 10 million views a month, you see 25 million views a month, and you think, oh, that's a great number. That's cute. But then you realize, oh, it's real. Like, those are real people.
Yeah. It's crazy. So so the influencer game is, that's extremely important. I just took a brief look at your website, which, by the way, what's the website?
TaylorChip.com.
Okay, easy to remember. But it looked like there were some celebrities and things like that have picked up on the brands. I mean, any names that you guys have seen? Is it? A lot.
Well, but I think it was like right when I came on board or right before is COVID times, and Dave Portnoy from Barstool Sports was doing like mail unboxings where he would just like open people's press packages or gifts that they would send to his apartment, and just it was a YouTube live, right, or something like that. Yeah. And he would just he would just go through the products and stuff. And so I guess Doug saw that, found his address, and sent him a box. And he ended up opening it up on the live and shut down your website or something like that.
No, there was another comedian that shut down our website. But so this was when we were first starting to ship. Really, it was during COVID, like the first 2 weeks of COVID, really. So everybody wasn't sure what was going on, and our shipping was starting to grow. But Dave Portnoy, he gave us the highest ever review for a cookie, and he didn't even follow the instructions and warm them up. He just ate them right out of the package, and he gave us, we were in the 8s. And then he went ahead and he went off camera, and while he said he's like yelling at the camera because it's live. He's saying, these are good because I'm leaving to go hide them to save them for later. Right. And
That's
so
awesome.
and this was unsolicited. And so after that, we got 250, like that night, we got like 250 orders or something like that.
Wow.
And what that did was that allowed us to take, usually it's pretty expensive to really first build your lookalike audiences on Facebook and all of that stuff so that you can really get your ROAS, return on ad spend, down. And what Dave did for us, thank you, Dave, was he cut that time to 0 and allowed us to then build a lookalike audience directly off the people that purchased, which allowed us to go from not advertising at all to 7 to 10 ROAS. Actually, during the first half a year of COVID, we were getting new customers to purchase $50 worth of stuff from us for 50 cents of advertising. And so with that, we just kept on increasing and going and going and going. So we went from $200,000 to $800,000 in revenue, which is small, but for us just starting, that was our second year in business in the first in 2020, and then from there 800,000 we did 2.7 million.
It's crazy numbers. And like, for I don't know, I don't really follow. I just recently became aware of like the whole Barstool pizza thing, and what good that has done, and then I guess the controversy or whatever that seems to follow those guys. But like it's totally entertaining. I see how it works too, and yeah, just influencers are so important because even though when you say you're walking up randomly to people's houses, it's almost like you have no idea, and then all of a sudden you're being, in your own town, there's people that don't know who you are, and then completely, 40 states away, you're getting recognized on the street. It's nuts.
Yeah, I mean, it's the attention economy that we're kind of in right now, and so it's like to see what we saw with like Dave Portnoy and what someone that has a really great audience, great community of people who will follow him no matter what he does and purchase whatever he says to purchase.
Right.
Like that was a big case study for us. And so we kind of gotten away from working with influencers directly or in any paid capacity.
Yeah.
Like everything that you've seen on our website has all been
earned.
Earned media,
Right.
building relationships. And so we really want to become kind of like the influencers in a way.
Yeah.
And we do that through telling Doug and Sarah's story.
Well, you see it all the time too. You see it everywhere. So this is a funny story, but I took my daughter to see Machine Gun Kelly, right, in like New Jersey, like 3 weeks ago. This is like the only time. So we go there, and we're at like the Hard Rock, and we're watching the MGK concert. And we weren't even there. I think we were on our way to the concert. And my daughter's like on TikTok or something. She's like, oh, look, she's like Machine Gun Kelly and Megan Fox. They went to some place selling Power Bowls in like some small town in New Jersey, right? And like the next article the next day was like a line out the door of the of people buying going in there because they wanted to know. And then the newspaper had written an article which got shared a million times, and all that stuff's earned, and that stuff is like invaluable, right? That pays for your salary multiple times over, right, Cameron? So you got to remember, and I know coming from a marketing background, that's the value of those things is so hard to judge sometimes, but so relevant these days. Yeah.
And Machine Gun Kelly is great. I've been listening to so much of his music because since he switched to like the punk type of stuff, I'm addicted to that type of music. But no, 100%. I mean, I think there's so much truth to that. But one thing that like if you're really, when we think about marketing, we think about how we're gonna get to Gen Z and what do they care about. Even though if you can successfully convince a Gen Z person to purchase or fall in love with your brand, you've also gotten everyone else, because Gen Z is like the third iteration of this like social media or like influencer stuff, and they're just over. They know they can sense when you're selling a product,
right,
using it, when you're overpaying an influencer to sell a product. They really know that. And so what is the third iteration of like influencer? It's you have to like even like celebrities launch products all the time that flop because it's not genuine. Like everybody now wants to make sure that the connection to the product or whatever you're selling is super genuine. And so the best way to be genuine is to become the influencer, essentially. And so that's really the idea. And just tell your story. What is your story? Like, I don't know what you guys feel about like the faith and stuff, but like that's our story. It's not my job to see if you guys feel that way. My job is just to be honest. That's honestly our story. And so we're going to tell that every time, and people are going to like it or not like it. If whatever you believe or whatever your thing is, that's your story, we need to be genuine. And so the best thing that any business can do right now, in my opinion, and Cameron's opinion, I'm speaking for him, is really to become themselves the influencer.
Well, listen, we're gonna be talking about the beer that we are working on together at the moment. ABC and Taylor Chip collaborating, and from my understanding, it involved putting a lot of cookies into the batch. So when we come back, we're going to talk exactly about the new edition, which I think is still unnamed, of the Midnight Fridge Raider. It's called Midnight Fridge Raider, I guess, but we just don't know what will we?
We haven't announced it.
Okay, and we're kind of right. So, I don't know.
We're kind of letting the cat out of the bag.
No, that's fine, believe it or not. So we'll see if we have some ideas or whatever the actual flavor is. We're going to find that out when we come back on the Appalachian Brewing Company podcast. And we're back on the Appalachian Brewing Company podcast. It's Mike and Henry here from Appalachian. And our special guests today, we've got Doug and Cameron from the Taylor Chip Company. First of all, I guess I never asked you guys. I mean, you guys have some locations. I mean, where are they? I know TaylorChip.com, but where are you guys actually physically located at this point?
So we have 3 open locations. So Intercourse, Pennsylvania, which is our centralized manufacturing, and then we also have a little bit like a factory outlet.
Okay.
You can go get cookies. That's all we got. And then we have our full-on experience, which is Manheim Pike, Lancaster, and then we have a market stand in Hershey. We are, however, opening 3 locations in Philadelphia. So one right in Rittenhouse Square, one on Fishtown Ave, right next Loch Lomond. They're manufacturing there in Fishtown, and then we're working on another one towards Drexel's campus.
Nice.
Then we have a few others in the realm of openings, and then one that we can talk about that's opening this month is our York, Pennsylvania location. So we're trying to get to 10 total open locations by June of next year.
Yeah. Wow. It's ambitious, but it's great. Good for you. I mean, it must mean there's a demand out there, right? So
yes.
That's awesome. So if I come into Taylor Chip, what's the experience? Am I just walking in and there's a case full of cookies and I point to it and say, give me that one, or is there more to it?
No, I mean, you really are. I mean, so that's the whole goal behind building our ice cream, which I don't know if we talked about or not.
No, you guys are in ice cream too?
Yes. Yeah. Jeez. So we are building our centralized, we're building a 20,000 square foot dairy production facility right now. And so we're going to be having ice cream rolling out over the next year or so. But we really want to create one, you're going to see a team member who is smiling, happy to see you, and just overall inviting. I think that's one thing we're able to offer above any other company is we have the experience dialed in with what we expect out of our team, and we have an amazing team members. And so that, and then you can get coffee. You have sit-down opportunities in our stores, our own line of coffee. So all of our syrups and everything are made in-house. And then obviously you have 30 flavors sprawled out in front of you in our display case. So you can look with your eyes and taste with your mouth.
Beautiful.
And that's the same with our ice cream.
All right. So I'm going to turn things over because we want to talk about this beer. So we've been doing this for now, 3 years in a row. Appalachian Brewing Company has been producing this delicious pastry stout, and it is called Midnight Fridge Raider. And the idea behind this beer is that it's not the same every year. It's something different. It's a chance to open the door for some creativity. So we went from the cherry cheesecake in the first year. Yep. Then last year it was a cannoli stout. Yep. And this year we're going to be using some Taylor Chip cookies in the batch. Henry, tell me about what you guys are doing And then obviously, Doug, and need you to talk about the cookies that are going into this thing too. But Henry, let's talk about the beer and how that thing is being brewed.
Absolutely. Yeah. So this actually started, and I'll give credit where credit's due. Our marketing director, Sam Brenner, is a fan. She is a frequent visitor to your Hershey location. Once she found out about Taylor Chip and really got on board with it, came sort of running in the brewery one day, and she's like, we got to do a beer with these guys. We've got to. And then she saw Cameron's TikToks, and it was over. That's all I was getting texts probably every 30 minutes about, I found another one. This one's so cool. You got to watch this. But yeah, that being said, we Sam sort of facilitated the meeting and us getting together, and I think it was a really phenomenal, collaborative meeting. Like we said, just really like-minded people. And essentially, we started looking through Taylor Chip's, variety of cookies and what would work in a beer. And, we had so many great ideas going. But where we kind of landed was your salted caramel pretzel cookie, which is phenomenal as a cookie. It's unbelievable. I've had probably more than I should.
Same.
But yeah, that basically we said, this would really work well as Midnight Fridge Raider in a stout format. So that being said, we met with our brewmaster, Bruce Tanner, and the brew team, and said, hey, how can we make this happen, guys? Like, can you formulate this? Can you really make this happen? And they were like, absolutely. We will figure this out. We'll make it happen. And that was sort of where it all started. So that being said, as the brew process just occurred recently, just 2 weeks ago, a week ago, Tuesday. Okay. I'm in fast forward mode over here.
Yeah, right.
But yeah, Tuesday was the actual brewing of the beer, and Taylor Chip was kind enough to come along and take some shots. And essentially we, in addition to the beer recipe base, they added 400 actual finished Taylor Chip cookies into the mash, as well as 100 pounds of Hammond's pretzels. So this is about as authentic as it gets. There's no simulated flavors here. This is like the real deal salted caramel pretzel Taylor Chip cookie. In with our mash, of course. And I expect great things out of this. I cannot wait to taste this beer myself. Oh, we're all excited. Everyone's pretty hyped about this one. This is going to be great.
So, Doug, what was it like to see all those cookies just get shoved into a brewing system?
Oh man, well, first of all, I might have eaten one or two during the process. But no, I'm just kidding.
Our team might have had a couple.
I think everybody set aside their own. But no, I mean it was awesome to experience that. Like I said, automation for me has been my world for the last year. Like we're doing our first round of automation, our minimum viable one, just because where we're at, we need to be as sleek as possible. And so, yeah, it's just been great to see what you guys got going on. I mean, I was asking you all kinds of questions too, but yeah.
Awesome. So, yeah, I mean, so really what's going to happen is this beer, from my understanding, we're talking about a month from now, I guess, right, is when this thing's going to be out. So, Midnight Fridge Raider featuring the salted caramel pretzel cookie. So, I mean, look, let's talk about the cookie. Okay. Salted pretzel caramel cookie. I mean, I don't expect a recipe or anything like that, but I mean, is what it is. Sound like what it sounds like?
So first of all, we'll break down it's our recipe, right? But then we specialize. We love using local brands. I mean, a lot like you guys. And so Hammond's has been around forever. I don't know if you know anything. I think the 1800s or very early 1900s. They've been around for a while. I don't know when they were, but they're a staple in Lancaster County, and they have great distribution, and they have amazing pretzels. So we use them as our pretzels in the cookie, and then we make our own corn syrup-free caramel. So we literally every week we're making the caramel fresh with just cream, sugar, butter, and that's the caramel recipe. And so really sticking with the corn syrup free and artificial flavor free stuff. And so that's all. And then obviously our base, and that all gets jumbled together in a cookie, and I think we made like 5 gallons of caramel or something like that to go into this as well.
Nice.
So yeah.
I love to see it. Over the years, there's been so many, cool collaborations and different things. I mean, honestly, if you're going to get into the beverage business or the snack business, and don't you want to be adventurous? Don't you want to do different things? I mean, doing the same thing all the time, and like obviously, you got to have the things. There's that one product or those 2 products that people come in for all the time, but then they venture off into a little area. Give me what are like the top 3 or 4 cookies that you guys sell, like flavor wise, and then give me a couple that are kind of off the wall.
I'm taking this one.
Sure.
All right. I think the top 3 cookies that we have is the classic chocolate chip is got to be at the top all the time. I think it's the first cookie they came up with.
Makes sense.
It's also a fan favorite.
Yeah.
But since we're talking about creative ones, the 3 would be s'mores, salted caramel pretzel, and lava cake. Currently, lava cake's growing currently. And then honorable mention, we'll put like birthday cake there. So we just we just launched the birthday cake cookie to celebrate our 5-year anniversary in August. And so that's our first cookie that had like, funfetti sprinkles on the inside or blended throughout the dough. And then it's stuffed with like buttercream icing.
Nice. Anything like, so this is the weirdest part, but like, I'm thinking, you can blend a beer with cookies and make the beer taste like cookies, but there have been ventures into snack food where they've mixed in ingredients. Like I've had a pretzel before that has hops in it, and there's like there would be like if no one's ever been in like side like a lagering room or something, or where like the cooler where people keep the hops, and you get that kind of aroma of the hops like fresh out of the bag. Yeah. You can kind of pick it up, but you can imagine not wanting to chew on a bunch of fresh hops. It's kind of it's kind of a very bitter flavor. But as a salty snack, that can be kind of kind of adjacent. When you're drinking a beer and you're eating a pretzel that might have a little bit of hops in it, there's always opportunities to pair food with beer, and like we say things like seafood, right, go well with an IPA. Or, you talk about like the Jolly Scot goes good with, which is the Scottish style ale. That's like your meat and potatoes beer, like something like a Thanksgiving dinner. So I don't know. I guess in your mind's eye, what are you thinking about? Like what would actually be a good cookie to eat while drinking a beer? Any ideas or like flavor profiles that would go with it? I'm thinking the salt sounds good to me. Salt and pretzels. You got salted caramel and pretzels. That's probably your best bet, because if you go too sweet, then maybe that's not.
Yeah, I mean, I would say that probably the Snickerdoodle would be a good one to throw in there with like maybe like a heavier beer, like a Guinness or something. I mean, oops.
No, that's fine. No, like a stout or a
like
porter.
A stout, yeah,
whatever you're drinking, that's fine. Yeah.
This guy, I mean, geez.
Right.
No, I think, I don't know. Are we doing contrasts, or are we like, because like obviously like complimentary? I mean, like a stout with our lava cake, if you want to go heavy, like that's a great way to put you to sleep. Like if you're tired, if you're not quite tired, but it's like 9:30, have like a stout with a lava cake cookie.
Oh my gosh.
But there was this guy that did like a video on this too, like pairing beers with a thing. But I mean, a cookie and a beer just go together in general.
Okay.
You can hardly go wrong.
No, I think you're right there. I just think that sometimes the bitterness of the beer and the sweetness of the dessert. So I've always been of that thing too. Look, I love having like a home game, right? Like a cookout, or I'm hosting a Thanksgiving dinner, or because typically I'm kind of cooking. I'm real busy, but I'm also like having a couple of beers, right? Because I know I'm home for the night. And then once I actually get to the food and I start loading up, and it gets harder and harder to drink beer, right? Because you're full, right? So if I can kind of do them both at the same time, but like that's why a pastry stout makes absolute sense in mixing these products. So that's really cool. But I think if maybe the next collaboration needs to be the other way. Figure out how to put maybe you guys could make like a root beer or like a birch beer cookie or something like that. I don't know.
I am down for a beer cookie.
Even like an icing or something with one of the, like a root beer flavored icing or something.
I mean,
I don't know.
I'm 100% down.
Okay. Nice.
Make that happen.
Yeah. Well, I'm thinking how it works in reverse. So anyway, this has been so awesome. So for the record, we want to learn more about Taylor Chip, website, social. Tell us where to go.
So TaylorChip.com. Taylor Chip on Instagram. You can search Taylor Chip on Facebook. Taylor Chip on TikTok. Just Taylor, like the last name, and Chip, like the chocolate chip cookie. You could put that anywhere and it'll take you somewhere.
All right, awesome. Well, this has been so much fun. I want to thank you guys. I want to thank Doug Taylor, and I also want to thank his Cameron. I don't know what I'm saying. Because I'm reading my notes.
Cameron is his own man.
Cameron Broadhurst. Cameron, he is him, right?
That's what him. Period.
When it comes to marketing, he is him. Cameron Broadhurst, and also, of course, Henry Grossman from ABC. It's been fun. So look, for all things Appalachian Brewing Company, it's abcbrew.com. Follow us on social. We're easy to find. And, of course, just want to thank our friends from Taylor Chip. And looking forward to the Midnight Fridge Raider coming out around November 15th. Awesome. All right. And, guys, we really appreciate it. Until next time, drink up, drink with friends, drink local, check out local places like Taylor Chip. Enjoy the fall, and we'll see you next time on the Appalachian Brewing Company podcast.